What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Stocks with Mike and Tom show. We had another wild day in the market. Peloton stock sank by 24%. We have some huge news with this one and a lot of important news on the market overall and Netflix earnings. We have a crazy video today. Make sure to stick around to the end. Let us know what stocks you are watching in the comments down below. But Tom, let's get right into it.
Yeah, I wish I had some better news to report on today, but man, Peloton took a pretty big tumble along with Netflix, but Peloton had some terrible news come across. CNBC reports that Peloton is going to halt production of their bikes and treadmills for 2 whole months as they have a ton of issues going on with money and cash flow. Pretty much they're trying to do this to go ahead and obviously create some better cost opportunities here. Obviously, they're losing a lot of money lately, and they're probably sitting on a lot of inventory. So with them doing this, you can see their stock is really tanking off today. Obviously, anytime any company halts production, it's not good news. I know Ford announced that a while ago. They ended up tanking down. That's not why they're down today, but in general, anytime you halt production, it's a really bad thing for a company to do. And they're going to actually be reporting earnings here on February 8th. So whenever you're looking at Peloton, it's just such a crazy setup. They've been going down for a long time, and this 23% move to the downside just does not help the recovery in any way.
The problem is that their demand is just diminishing, Tom. They just can't sell their product like they were able to back in 2020 and even in 2021. So let's take a look at their fundamentals really quickly. Peloton is an interesting company right now in the sense that, yes, they grew like crazy in 2020, even in 2019, and then, of course, in 2021, but it just doesn't look like they'll be able to keep up this type of growth. And the problem is that even in 2020 and in 2021, when they had amazing revenue numbers, they still were not profitable. So we could see over the past recent quarters, like Tom has pointed out on the upper left right now, we could see quarter by quarter that revenue is falling off. And it's probably only going to get worse considering that Peloton, just like Tom said, is halting production.
Yeah, that production is not a good thing to halt. Obviously, anytime you hear of a company doing that, it's really bad news. Like you said, this is also going down. Their demand's going down, and it's just not a good thing right now for them overall. And then they even had that bad news of people getting hurt on their machines and stuff like that. But Mike, these fundamentals are awesome to look at here, and these are actually on the new dashboard. Check out the link below to get access to this. But yeah, you can see that they have been having some good growth year over year. But honestly, once we start to see the yearly stuff come out for 2021, we're going to see a pretty big drop, I think. And as we can see with the quarters, it's starting to go down here. And I'm going to expect this to keep kind of selling off. It's not looking good. And their stock is obviously having a pretty bad move to the downside off of this. Normally, we don't see stocks go down this much in a single day, Mike, but 23% is huge, especially considering how much they've already fallen this year. Like, I didn't think it could get any worse, but I guess it can.
When it rains, it pours, Tom. This stock was at $171 over a year ago, I guess you could say, or right around a year ago. But either way, it's been brutal. So, Tom, we have to point out, what are the next major levels to the downside? But, even for support, do we have any support levels coming up that we might bounce off of?
Honestly, looking at it here on the max daily chart, ever since they IPO'd, they were sitting there right around $17. And I will say, if they end up holding this support down here around $17, you could say $17.70. I think it'll be a pretty good area. $20 might also act as a pretty big support. So I would definitely look at those levels as we start to fall. We haven't been there in a very long time. So any type of shorter time frame chart, you won't even really see these supports unless you go to like a max daily or a max weekly. But yeah, looking at it, it looks like we might be heading back to those levels of a few years ago.
And then what about resistance?
Yeah, for resistance today, we had a pretty big drop. Now for this one, we can go more into some intraday charts, maybe like some 1 hour charts. You can see they had a pretty big drop right below $30 even. I think that's going to be the main level there to look at. Intraday today, though, if you guys are trying to day trade it, it looks like there was some intraday resistance here up around 27. So if you're going to be day trading this tomorrow, if you see it popping in the morning, just be careful because it might hit 27 and then start to come back.
Alrighty, so Tom, I know we also had a ton of crazy movement with Netflix in after hours on their earnings report. So what is going on with this one?
Yeah, this one is going down in a major way, and they actually reported some pretty good EPS numbers. I'm actually going to bring up the news tab here on Thinkorswim, Mike, and you can see that the numbers are pretty good here. You know, you can see that overall they reported a 1.33 EPS versus an 82 cents expected, which is good, and their revenue came in at 7.71 billion, which is right at the expectation. But they did have some issues. Apparently, their quarter four streaming paid net additions came in at 8.28 million versus only 8.4 million. And that's a pretty bad thing to see. You know, that's showing that they're not really getting those subscriber numbers that they're hoping for and everything like that. And as we can see, their stock is just really tanking down here in after hours. It's not looking good. They fell below that huge $500 support. That's huge as far as psychological, and it's been holding up on the chart lately. And we just tanked right below that, even below 480. Like I honestly can't believe how big of a dip Netflix is having here.
This is huge, Tom. Like literally ever since the market closed, it's been nothing but red candles. So definitely keep Netflix on your radar for tomorrow. It is going crazy in after hours. And Tom, what levels do we have for this one? Like I'm kind of concerned. Like it fell right through 500 like nothing, and then it fell right below 450 like that was nothing. So like what are the next levels to watch?
Yeah, you're right. Those were huge levels. I honestly haven't even had anything plotted at 450 for a long time, but honestly, $400 is going to be a huge level now that we're below 450. I think that we might be able to hold up at 400. There's been a lot of bounces there in the past as well, but I will say there was tons of bounces right around like 450 to 460 also. And, you know, like you said, we just blasted right through that. So it's pretty crazy to see how big they're down in after hours. Man, that EPS has started to really fall off over the past couple of quarters. I'm glad that it beat the estimate, but wow, I mean, it's just not good to see. This stock has been going down for the past couple of months too, and it just sucks to see. And, you know, Netflix is a major player in the market. You know, they were a huge streaming stock, and they've been considered to be one of the better longer term plays. So this is going to create a pretty good long term opportunity down here.
True that. So I know there's a ton of selling pressure just across the market overall right now, and kind of like you suggested, Tom, like a lot of these dips should bring a lot of good buying opportunities, but it's like, how much more bleeding does there have to be? Like, how about this action intraday on the SPY, Tom? Like, it was looking great this morning, and then, you know, a couple hours later, it's just like crashing.
Yeah, you're right. The market was doing pretty good. You know, growth stocks were even doing good. We saw DraftKings was up this morning. Corsair was really explosive. Then we had AI running up, and then they all tanked off. Like AI ended up down almost 2%, and then they fell below that low of yesterday. It was just such a bad turnaround after such a great start to the day. Like you would have really expected maybe the market to hold up, but man, we just continue to see the sell off. As we've been saying, you know, these rates going up are not good. We can see the TNX actually held its ground this morning and kind of popped up intraday. So I guess that with the index starting to rise, you know, we're starting to see the market take another dip back down, which is not good. And man, with the way the SPY sold off, I don't know. I mean, I could see this one possibly continuing tomorrow with the way we broke support here.
Yep, when it rains, it pours. You know, the market takes the stairs up and the elevator down, and that's exactly what we're seeing. So, you know, I guess if we, you know, continue to just make lower lows and, you know, just show weakness in the market, then, you know, buying puts is not a bad idea. But it's been pretty rough lately. On like a different note, Tom, I know gold and silver have been doing pretty well lately. How are those holding up?
They actually held up pretty well today. I will say though, gold was kind of like a growth stock today. It was up in the morning and then started dipping down towards the end of the day. I wonder how the dollar did, dollar sign DXY. Wow, we can see that the US dollar actually kind of exploded. So that probably is why gold started dipping down there towards the end of the day. Same thing with silver. They were doing great in the morning. Silver actually held up a lot better than gold. So that's great to see. And to be honest, they held up pretty well, especially if you compare them to the overall market. So I think it's still good to, I think gold and silver are still pretty good hedges here for the overall market. But obviously, if the dollar keeps going up, they might slow down a little bit, but I still like them.
Gotcha. All right, good stuff there, Tom. And with that being said, let's get right into the momentum plays for tomorrow. And with the first one, we have Baidu potentially to the upside.
Yeah, Baidu actually consolidated quite a bit today. Go ahead and make them break out above 164. I think if they break 164, we'll have a pretty good chance to come up and break 165 here.
Sounds good. And with the next one, we have Facebook potentially to the downside.
Yeah, this one started really selling off again. They're at a major support around 314. Make them break right below 314. If they break below that in pre-market, then make them break 313.50.
All right, and with the last one, we have Disney to the downside.
Yeah, they really turned around this morning, and look at them in after hours. They're kind of following Netflix down, which is not good considering they're in that same streaming sector. Make Disney fall below 140.
Crazy stuff. All right, so we are watching Disney and Facebook for potential day trades to the downside tomorrow, only if they break below the levels Tom listed. And then we are watching Baidu for a potential day trade to the upside tomorrow, only if it breaks above the level Tom listed. But with that being said, we want to give a huge shout out to our member of the day, which is Michael C. on YouTube. Thanks so much for all of the great comments. We appreciate it. And Tom, now let's get right into the comments from the previous video. With the first comment, we have Outlaw referring to Palantir. So Tom, Palantir had a decent day. It was looking really great early on, but then it just like turned over like everything else.
Yeah, you're right. This one was actually one of my favorite ones this morning, and it was really sad to see it kind of fall off. I really was hyping this one up this morning, and you can see it kind of broke this resistance I had posted right around $15.25. And we went up a little bit past that, but we hit that 15.50 resistance and came right back. So yeah, it wasn't a good day for Palantir. I was really looking for these ones to continue up today with the growth, with the overall growth sector, but it's not really just Palantir's fault. We saw the whole entire growth sector fall, so at least it's not company specific here.
True that. So Tom, do you have any last minute plays or anything for tomorrow?
Yeah, looking at the market overall, it was just such a bad down day. We saw lots of these metaverse plays like Unity end up falling off at the end of the day. Matterport was down again. I really like these companies for the longer term, and I think it's creating some really good opportunities. And Mike, I kind of just wanted to showcase this fundamental dashboard again. I love using this dashboard for the long term. You can type in any stock you want here. For example, we can go check out Unity right now and kind of check out their revenue over the past couple of years. And looking at it, you can see how much their growth has started to really rise. Now, even quarterly, it's been doing pretty good. So I'm glad to see that they're doing good. And honestly, as they're dipping down, I might really look at picking up some shares of Unity, maybe Matterport, just a few of these metaverse plays down here while they're still low. I feel like they're really good pickups, especially to short puts on. And as we know, Nancy Pelosi's in a couple of these ones too. So, you almost can't go wrong if she's in.
True that. And Tom, in this type of market, fundamentals are more important than ever. So if you're looking to get into that like fundamental side of stock investing, definitely check out that first link in the description and the comments down below. We have the largest sale we are ever going to do for that dashboard. You can analyze any stock within seconds, and it's going to be a game changer. So definitely check it out. Besides that, thank you guys so much for watching. And if you have any questions, let us know in the comments down below.